IRL. I think your microphone may have been off again. Because. Oh.
How about
Thanks
now?
for the heads up, Sean Retro.
Right. Yeah, for whatever reason, Streamlabs likes to do this on occasion, so thanks for that, Sean. This article is actually highlighting one of my favorite animes, but it's probably a subject that Madame President is none too fond of, and that is
I see Twilight. In other words,
Netflix's newest anime. Now, granted, this is from a year ago, but I was searching around for articles, and this happened to pop up. Netflix's newest vampire anime, proves Twilight's biggest criticism wrong. Netflix's Vampire in the Garden is another vampire story centered around emotional conflict, but here is how it avoids the same pitfalls as Twilight.
Not exactly hard to do.
And for some reason, I had a little hair on my tongue. That's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
Yeah, I hate when that happens. Warning, spoilers contain spoilers for Vampire in the Garden. It's been like a year. I think most people have seen all 5 episodes by this point. Vampire in the Garden is an anime on Netflix that proves one of the biggest criticisms of Twilight wrong, with Vampire in the Garden having a fictional wartime Russia-like setting and Twilight being largely set in modern day. The two stories don't have a lot of similarities beyond both of them involving vampires. There is, however, overlap between their themes and the way vampires are used in the stories, and this allows for one major criticism of Twilight to be rectified in Vampire in the Garden. Both during and after the height of its popularity, Twilight received a wide range of criticism. Most of it was valid, especially for its writing and its handling of the various romances. Yeah, for starters, get a better actress. But that part of Twilight... I take no prisoners. But that part of Twilight has probably received the most mockery, most of it from Madame President, is its portrayal of vampires. Unlike many vampire stories before and after, the vampires in Twilight, even though they're villainous, aren't horrific monsters. They look and behave just like regular people for the most part. This causes the story to have few gruesome moments and to be focused more on the drama of humans and vampires trying to coexist. This was commonly cited as a weak angle to go for with a vampire story, especially when it was mostly tied to Bella and Edward's relationship. And there's poor Robert Pattinson. I'm doing this for the paycheck. I'm doing this for the paycheck. I'm doing this for the paycheck. Oh, it's documented. He hated making those movies.
Yeah, but money talks and bullshit walks. How many times have we said that?
Damn Skippy. While Twilight's portrayal of vampires was criticized, Vampire in the Garden proves it's possible to pull off the same idea entertainingly. Like Twilight, Vampire in the Garden is a story centered around a human and a vampire trying to cohabitate together in peace. Momo Nobarashi, voiced by Hunter x Hunter's Megami Han, the daughter of the human army's general, and Fine, the queen of the vampires. Their lives are constantly upended by people who either object to humans and vampires coexisting or to their specific relationship. It should be noted that Momo and Fine aren't exactly stated to be attracted to each other like Bella and Edward, but the show heavily implies it throughout the entirety of its run. Vampire in the Garden is another vampire story focused on human drama, but it's also filled with scenes of violence and gore from both humans and vampires. This shows that it is in fact possible to have a vampire story centered around emotional conflicts while still including the horrific elements commonly associated with the genre. What also helps Vampire in the Garden's case is that a lot of the Netflix anime's darker elements don't specifically relate to vampires. While the vampires killing people does result in some horrific moments, There are also scenes of realistic horror such as starvation, mob violence, propaganda, and torture. Even the people who want to keep Fine and Momo apart are doing so less because they're at war and more because of personal reasons. For example, the vampires need to use Fine for their political needs, and Momo's uncle, Kubo, simply can't accept the idea of a human and vampire being together after his own failed union. Much of the human drama and hardships in the show come with a degree of realism, and that goes a long way towards selling the horror elements. Like the less deadly The Twilight Saga, Vampire in the Garden is centered around the emotional conflict of a human and vampire relationship, but it does so in a different way. The gruesome horror staples of the vampire genre, which were largely absent from Twilight, are on full display in the anime. Plus, elements of realism enhance the darker aspects of the setting even further. This is why Vampire in the Garden makes a better case than Twilight for a vampire story centering around human conflict and having drama that merits it. You know, Screen Rant, there are times you come up with some less than stellar arguments, like the idea of John Cena playing Michael Knight and Kevin Hart being the voice of Kit. Oh yeah,
No.
they had ideas of what they would think that a Knight Rider reboot could look like, and they said it should be comedic, with Cena playing Michael Knight as himself and Kevin Hart being a snarkier, more wisecracking version of the car. And I'm like, no. The only one who ever pulled that off is D.L. Hewley as Gadgetmobile in 1999, and that worked for the story specifically. But Kit has to be Kit. He has to be the logical voice of reason. He has to be the one that's like, hey, hang on now, let's take a step back a bit. Kevin Hart is Kit, and this will be down to the script more than anything, but I can't see or can't hear Hart's voice coming out of the Trans Am, or if they choose to use the Camaro, if and when this movie ever sees the light of day. And, I like Cena as an actor. I think he has gone a lot better since The Marine, but he's no Michael Knight. I just don't think he has that ability to pull that off, but I've been wrong before. But no, like I say, Screen Rant, you've actually come up with an article where, for once, I actually agree with, because Vampire in the Garden does make you kind of look at vampires a little bit differently. I mean, yeah, they still have their need for blood, but they basically have the other needs that that a lot of us go through every day with human interactions and what have you. And the way that they kind of view a vampire and a human relationship, they kind of use it as a theme of where they say their relationship is taboo. Keep in mind, Fine and Momo are both women. So when they say they look at it as taboo, it's in the same way that religious people would look at a same-sex relationship. So there is kind of that, I don't want to say token, but that kind of, I see, because Lid made a similar comment where Buffy's mother looked at being a slayer as a similar thing as to being a lady who likes ladies.
Yeah, it was implied as such. It's like, it wasn't subtle, but it was there.
Yeah. Yeah. Can't really add anything to that. So Stephen, your 2 cents?
Interesting article. Never seen Vampire in the Garden myself. Probably may need to check that out on Netflix.
Yep, it's still there.
Mm.
All right. Cyber Raiden.
Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Because I'm far away from my phone.
Ah.
Okay, anyway, yeah, I've heard you speak good things about this anime, and the article is pretty cool to highlight this. I don't know, man. If anything, I'm kind of, for me, Twilight is just, in a way, for me, as a time capsule. Like, there, popular, and you don't hear that much again. Mentioned. So I'm happy that after Twilight, vampires are getting good. I've seen a couple of TV shows that highlight vampirism. Like the one current one was when they adapted Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really cool that they are just like, you see vampires in a better light. Not like what Stephenie Meyer has done. Even though, like, listen, I think for me, I'm over the Twilight hatred, but I can understand why people still hate it. Lydia. Not a diss, but I know how you feel about the show. About the
Fair enough.
But yeah, good article. Very good things with Vampire Garden. I might check it out, maybe sooner or later, but so far, good stuff.
Madam President.
I would have to agree with this article. Surprisingly enough, coming from Screen Rant, I have to agree with that. But like again, with the vampire genre, you got to either do something with it, or you're just gonna fall flat on your face. Twilight. I'm sorry. I don't have a hatred for the actors because Robert Pattinson has done very well for himself. Kristen Stewart has tried to steer away from that, but we all know how that worked out. Charlie's Angels. Sorry, it's that bad cough again. I'm sorry.
Don't call me Angel. Shut the fuck up.
I hated that song, bro.
Yeah, but I have to agree. You have to at least do something with the genre. You're just not gonna stand out in the crowd because, quite frankly, the vampire genre is a very populated one. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You need to do something new, otherwise you're going to get mowed down or forgotten. And I'm glad that this anime's doing that. I've never seen it personally, and quite frankly, I'm not going to be able to. We got rid of Netflix a while back, so yeah. Money problems, not personal reasons.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, it helps to stand out in a crowd, so I'll give them that.
Alrighty. And we go from one vampire article to another, though this time we actually go into the world of the Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, The Lost Summer announced returns to original TV show canon. Return to Buffy the Vampire Slayer's television series timeline with Buffy the Vampire Slayer The Lost Summer, a new one-shot that Boom Studios will publish in May, written by Buffy the Vampire Slayer writer Casey Gilly, and featuring artwork by Laura Knight, and colors Francesco Sagala. The Lost Summer is set during the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer TV run, revealing a between-season summer road trip for the Scooby Gang. Oh dear. The plot involves Spike searching for a lost copy of his embarrassing poetry. Oh, this is gonna be hilariously bad. That means Buffy and the gang will be taking a trip to New Orleans. Here's the plot synopsis from Boom. Spike is determined to keep the last copy of his embarrassing poetry from being discovered, sending Buffy and the gang on a faux supernatural goose chase to New Orleans to cover his tracks. While an antiques fair along the way, the group is captivated by some casket girls' clothes on display. Dawn utters a wish she most likely should have kept to herself, and the gang experiences a first-hand account of these sisters' identities beyond what they could have ever imagined. Spike, just that image of Spike in that screenshot is like, hey, what are you doing? Buffy the Vampire Slayer The Lost Summer 1 will ship with a main cover by Mercer Andolfo. It'll also have variant covers by Veronica Fish, Paulina Ganuccio, from Wonder Woman The Amazing World of Gumball. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
Buffy
Yeah,
the
that's
Vampire
cool.
Slayer #1 goes on sale in comic shops in May. It will also be available on Boom Studios' website, and digital copies can be purchased from Comixology, iBooks, Google Play, and Kindle. Official solicitation information follows, and it's all like the various different shot. Oh, Spike's got a very. That's got to be a Dodge Charger. It has to be a Dodge
Yeah.
Charger.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
just look
cool.
at the license plate on the next cover.
Scoobies. Like,
That is clever.
I like how Spike is trying to like keep under everything, and oh, Xander's road sick. I got they got the mannerisms captured there. There's Giles just driving with a donut. That's either Dawn or Anya counting money. Buffy's sleeping. And there's Willow, and it's either Dawn's writing something in her diary or that's Willow, and then there's
I think it's because it's the Boom Studio. I'm not sure if that's the main timeline. It's a different timeline.
okay.
If they, I'm not sure because does this? They say that this particular miniseries takes place in between some of the earlier seasons.
Oh, so it is the main timeline. My mistake. So that could
Yeah.
be Dawn. So
And also, when Spike was with them, Dawn was with them as well, wasn't she?
yeah, she was.
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest Buffy fan, but this does look like it could be fun. I tell you what could also be fun, 20th Century Studios. Reinstate the animated series.
Yes. That has potential.
Yes, it did. I liked it.
And even though they didn't have Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, the voice actress that they had as a stand-in was pretty close sounding to her.
Yeah,
Not
and
to
they
mention-
actually. Yep. Sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
Were you going to mention in the video games that she was the voice of Buffy?
Yeah.
She was in the video game. She was.
Yeah, because I remember definitely from Chaos Bleeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, because with Chaos Bleeds, they actually replaced Alison Hannigan as Willow in the game, and I'm like, why?
Probably because some sort of maybe she wasn't available or something.
It just seemed a bit odd that everyone else was there except Sarah. And I heard that, and I remember one of my buddies saying back in the day, if you're listening, Pete, you're the one who told me this story, so if anything's wrong, then this is on you. Just saying. There was word on the wire back in the day they were going to have Britney Spears as a guest star on Buffy, but apparently Sarah nixed it, saying, no, I'm not going to have her upstage me. No, not happening. Again, don't know how much... I don't know how much truth there is to that, but Sarah doesn't strike me as that.
It reminds me of something off topic, because like, cause I remember I was on Twitter and the singer Pink got a photo of like the music video of Lady Marmalade with Maya, Aguilera, and Lil Kim, and it kind of sort of it looks like he's harboring still deep-seated hatred about that video, mainly with Christina Aguilera, because the way Pink was back then, she was basically the rebel type, and like Aguilera getting the spotlight. I mean, it is what it is. Aguilera, she's still established, and Pink at the time was still like a rising star, but still using that rebel persona, and that's what sort of carried her. So I think with this situation with Britney Spears and Sarah Michelle Gellar, Britney is Britney. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Sarah Michelle Gellar is Buffy, but like, you can, even though it's true or not, you can definitely tell like there's a fear of being upstage. That's something that's kind of sort of bigger than.
Yeah.
I feel you.
And what's funny is that Britney Spears was supposed to be in an episode of Buffy, but she turned down the role because she was supposed to play the robot girlfriend in season 5, and it's...
Oh.
She didn't want to do that because she wanted to be someone who hangs out with the Scoobies and, not a sex bot, so...
Ahem.
Even though she did play a fembot in Austin Powers.
Ahem.
I think for me what was funny was when the Scoobies realized what Spike had the robot made from. They're like, ah! Now, okay, how do I word this in such a way where the context is not lost? I get why Spike had the Buffy bot made because, well, the guy who had his previous robot girlfriend, from the story's point of view, to anyone that didn't know, she may as well have been a real girl. And at the time, Spike was slowly growing an obsession with Buffy to where he has that dream where, the two are getting on, he wakes up, like, what the bloody hell's happening to me?
No, he's like, God, no, because again, in his mind, he's supposed to be the one that kills the Slayer because he's killed 2 of them, so it's like he was going to add Buffy to his list, but yeah, things happen.
I think, from what little I did see of their relationship, I think it was more rewarding and less depressing than Buffy and Angel. I mean, Angel's always going to be like, a special place for Buffy, but with Spike, it was much more entertaining.
Yeah, well, the relationship between the two of them going at it,
yes,
trying to be as nice as possible. The only reason that she did that is because she wanted to feel something after being brought back from the dead. So basically, she was using him, and he was not going to mind that until he took it a bit of a step too far. And now that's all I'm going to say about that.
Thing is, from what I remember seeing what led up to the series finale, Spike was basically there for her. I think there was actual, genuine love and affection, as well as the physical attraction. And she goes, "I love you." No, you didn't. No, you don't. But thanks for saying it anyway. And I'm like, yeah, that's classic Spike right there. But I would like to have seen how much more they could have explored that, because obviously Spike gets brought back during, I think it was season 5 of Angel, but he's a ghost most of the time.
Yeah. I think in the Dark Horse comics, I think by the end they do end up together, so there that is.
Yeah, and they were actually, when they actually did get together, he actually went to go get his soul back, and usually,
No. He got his soul back near the end of season 6 because of what he did, and it made us imply that in that episode, in the episodes that he was doing, they were saying, oh, maybe he's just going to get his chip removed. Nope, he got his soul back that way. And then he spent the majority of season 7 a little nuts or being controlled by the first evil. So that is.
In a similar way to what the first evil was doing to Angel, where he would have just stood and watched the sunset, watched the sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and for whatever reason, because it was Christmas morning and the sun never showed because it started snowing and therefore no sunlight, and it's like, okay. Yeah, it didn't make much sense to me back then, and I'm not going to try and make sense of it now.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, to our own resident Slayer, what do you make of the idea of them exploring a road trip for Spike to retrieve embarrassing poetry. I don't even want to begin to understand what that entails.
I mean, I do kind of like that. It's funny that he's finds his poetry embarrassing, but by the series finale of Angel, he was actually sharing some of his poetry at like an open mic night, and they were like cheering him on. It's funny how a person's terrible poetry becomes someone else's art. So I'll give it that. I do like what the stuff that Boom Studios is doing with the franchise itself, and especially the alternate timeline thing. I in fact ordered the first like few issues off Amazon. It's like I like what they did with that, so good on them. So I'm glad that what they're doing with the franchise itself. So keep up the good work. It's like, I mean, they know how to handle a franchise, especially with the stuff they're doing with this and with Power Rangers. So it's like I gotta commend Boom Studios on that.
Agreed. Sir Stephen?
It looks interesting. Yes, as long as they stay true to what the characters were in the TV show, we're all good.
Mm-hmm.
I can't add anything to that. That's pretty much on point. Raiden, your thoughts?
I mean, if anything, it's cool. It's cool that Vampire Slayer still getting all this love all these years. Even though I'm not a big watcher of the series, like there's one character I just want to see come back, and that's Indra. I always liked her. But
Alright.
all in all, it's cool.
I think she's in the new time. Sorry, don't mean to interrupt. She's in the new timeline comics, so.
Well, I got some search to do. Anyway, it's cool to see that, you know, like I said, Buffy Vampire Slayer is back and better than ever with the comic. Spike being Spike from what I've heard, so yeah, all good.
Yeah, and I think Sean was just saying just there in the background, you know what was a good divergence from Twilight back in the day? Daybreakers.
I have to agree with him on that. I have to agree.
That was a damn good movie, and that was a budget movie as well.
Yeah, that was a solid film.
Sam Neill probably playing his most evil role since The Omen 3. I've heard stories about, you know, that third movie and some of the plot details. I'm like, yeah, I'm steering clear of this. And of course, interesting thing, when they actually went to do the remake of the original, because I was in Showcase in Avonmeads at the time, and in that particular cinema, they like to do like these, you know, movie trivia nuggets before the movie starts playing. Whilst they were making the 2006 remake, 5,000 feet of film roll mysteriously disappeared.
Spooky.
Yeah, it's why I don't go to watch movies like that. It's just like, no. It's the same thing with The Exorcist, because there was a TV documentary like years later where they talked about mysterious, unexplained fires on the set, and you know, one of the producers is saying to the others like, maybe we shouldn't be messing around with this. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, think?
You think? Thanks.
Just like,
I'll get you a drink later, man.
yeah. Well, we're going to experiment in a moment because Kaiju has suggested now might be the time to start streaming the reviews on Twitch. So I'm taking a chance with this.
Don't
Right.
worry, I've got it running on my PlayStation, so if it goes off, I'll let you know.
Oh, we've lost Lydia for some reason. Ah, there she is.
Wi-Fi, most likely.
Yeah, I think it was my Wi-Fi again.
Right.
We know.
Just so you know, for context, I tried my damnedest to get the audio as decent as I could, and the boom arm for my microphone is helping in so many ways, because there will be some moments where you'll be like, oh, hang on, that sounds better than usual. That's where I did the redubbing. But what I've done with some that were a little on the quiet side, I just did as Kaiju suggested, just boost the volume. And what I'm trying to get into this habit of is not going to, if you go to, redub one voiceover, because then that makes the others not look so good, and then it would get into this habit of, okay, now you got to redo that one, then you do that one, and then it would get to a point where you redo the redo, and I'm just like, just make the ones that were terrible better, and then move on, because I'm already a week behind schedule in production, so... Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
Alright, all done.
No momento.
I'm at 0-0.
Ditto.
And in a moment, I'm like, oh, there we go. All right, starting. There, stop that.
Yeah.
There we go. Stop starting on your own.
Bad video.
Yeah, don't do that. All right, I'm at 0.
3, 2, 1, play.
Ooh.
Very nice, very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
A cinematic universe. 15 years ago, no one could have predicted that this formula would change the face of cinema. It also propelled an actor that fledgling Marvel Studios took a chance on after he had a less than flattering public image years before. However, this gamble not only paid off for the studio, but it would also launch the Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it, and it made a household name out of one of the most giving and respected actors in Hollywood today, Robert Downey Jr. This movie was Iron Man. Before the Avengers, Captain America, the Black Panther, bringing Spider-Man in, and a very underrated Hulk reboot, Iron Man started out as possibly one of the last standalone superhero movies. Whereas the X-Men, Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four, and Hulk all existed in their own separate universes courtesy of when Marvel sold off the movie rights in the late 1990s and early 2000s. The movie rights to Iron Man had previously been held at New Line Cinema and 20th Century Fox, where we might have seen Tom Cruise as Tony Stark and even Nicolas Cage. Personally, I would have been intrigued to see what that could have looked like. So, after 15 years, does the Mark III suit still have the shine? Well, let's get
you
back
may
into
or may
the
not
suit
get that
as we
in
revisit Iron Man.
Wars, but we don't know.
Tony Stark, genius, playboy, billionaire, philanthropist. Stark is to the Marvel world as Brains is to Thunderbirds, a very eccentric-minded inventor that creates tech that people can't even begin to imagine. The movie does a great job of portraying Tony Stark as a lovable rogue. There are things he does that are questionable, but there is something charming about how he does it.
Is it true you went 12 for 12 with last year's Maximum cover model?
That is an excellent question. Yes and no. March and I had a scheduling conflict, but fortunately the Christmas cover was twins.
That's not something he would say past this movie. When you get to Iron Man 2, you'll see why.
Oh my god!
Oh, dear.
Oh my god!
Where Stark is wounded out in the field testing the very weapons he invented and has a device implanted in his chest to stop even further damage to his heart by keeping the remaining shrapnel from entering his atrial septum. The only difference is that Vietnam is swapped out for Afghanistan, and in the context of 2008 at this time, this was appropriate and contemporary with what was going on in the world at the time. That and John Jon Favreau did not want to do a period piece with a movie that would have been set in the 70s. Stark is a man that seemingly has everything. Money, charm, wit, cars, great house, an awesome basement garage lab that most people would love to have, and an AI system that assists him around the house. I think when you're humbled in the manner that he had been, it makes you rethink your world perspective. Are we doing enough to protect the people around the world, and what can we do to affect change? Enter the mini-arc reactor and the first of 3 Iron Man suits. The first suit was made in a cave from a box of scraps, and it was only meant to be a one-shot deal. Just a means of him escaping with Yinsen, who saved his life earlier. In terms of tech, it's very low, compared to the more refined and sophisticated Mark suits in later movies that would even make the Mark III suit in this movie look obsolete. That's the thing that Stark is about with his tech. He is always refining it and making revisions to iron out flaws with not only the arc reactors, but also the suits. If we look at the test flight of the Mark II, we witness that it's vulnerable to icing up in the higher atmosphere, and then he switches the components to gold titanium alloy that they use on satellites to maintain fuselage integrity while power-to-weight ratio. During this, we see the reference to the gold suit in the comics before Stark settles on the iconic golden red suit with a little hot rod red from the 1934 delivery. The most rewarding parts of the movie is him leading up to becoming Iron Man, in a similar vein to where you witness Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker learning to be Spider-Man, and the gradual progression of Bruce Wayne to Batman in Batman Begins. It's just seeing the trial and error with what works for the suit and the interactions between Tony and his robot assistants. One real cute moment is where the robot he nicknamed Dummy hands him his original arc reactor chess piece after Obadiah had stolen his more upgraded piece, and that his robot actually looked out for him. This is real sweet.
Aww.
And now for the parts that no one wants to hear. Obadiah is really underdeveloped as the Ironmonger, with essentially an upgraded version of the Mark
good
I
boy,
suit
dummy.
on steroids, like he'd been taking Python packs from Hulk Hogan in the 80s. Also, how did he learn how to pilot the suit so quick?
Yeah.
And the fight. Ugh. While it's
Ah,
amazing to
no!
watch, it's just that it could have included more of these fights, as the only fights that Stark had been in
It was
were
aight.
fight to escape the
Oh,
cave,
but yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
to cash some receipts on the 10 rings out of respect for Yinsen, and took the group and left their citizens to do as they saw fit with their captors, and then the escape from the F-22 Raptors, and then saving the pilot. Now, I'll grant the writing this. It adds an edge and tension to have the hero come in at a disadvantage with a chess piece that was not designed for sustained flight, as Stark was losing more power than Kimberly from Season 3 of Power Rangers. Or the daily use of a smartphone. I think those are the only major critiques that let the movie down a few points. While I still think this is the best Iron Man movie in the series and the best MCU movie overall, in my opinion, I just think if they had more screen time with the Ironmonger and not have Stane's heel turn come out of left field near the third act, it would have made this even better. Now, I'm going to end the writing on a positive note. This is how you end the movie like a badass.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Yep. Before Robert was cast as the titular character, I don't think anyone could have visualized him as Iron Man. Seeing him as Tony Stark, they would not be able to picture him not being Iron Man. Robert brings a lot of charm to essentially the character that was at the ground floor of the MCU. His lovable snark is what made him a perfect fit as the engineer weapons inventor that would help turn a C-list superhero into an A-lister overnight. What I find rewarding about Robert's performance is someone that's basically a lovable rogue that takes his gifts as an inventor for granted, and not seeing the carnage that the weapons he made to protect soldiers is being used against them. In a way, this was almost a redemption arc, as you see a man that has seen what he has created being misused, and he decides to correct this mistake by going after the double dealing under the table with the aid of his Iron Man suit. There is still that roguish charm to him, but now it's being led by a moral compass. Many cite this role as the beginning of the biggest comeback in Hollywood when you consider he had a fall from grace in admitting to substance abuse, doing time, and then slowly getting his foot back in the door with small roles here and there, one of which was miming out to Elton John's I Want Love, which was essentially done on his lunch break hour in prison. It was Mel Gibson who got him his first major role after rehab in The Singing Detective, option for him, a favor that Robert would return later in life after
Oh.
Mel had his own brush with the law. Yep. Small trivia.
Hmm.
The scene in which he has cheeseburgers is an unintentional reference to what made him quit drugs. He had a cheeseburger where he was so high that he was not able to enjoy it that he dumped his supply into the ocean and decided to go to rehab. And here are some of his best zingers.
Is it better to be feared or respected? I say, is it too much to ask for both? That's how Dad did it. That's how America does it. And it's worked out pretty well so far.
Hey, Tony. Remember me?
Sure don't.
Prepared to lose a few with you.
What's going on?
Let's face it, this is
Sure don't.
RDJ is to Tony Stark as Michael Keaton is to Batman.
Oh God, this scene.
Perfect. Behind every great leading man, there's a great leading woman, and this is very much the case with Gwyneth Paltrow. Iron Man is not necessarily the movie I would have expected her to do when she has a resume like Great Expectations and Shakespeare in Love. And yet, after seeing her as Pepper, it would feel wrong to have someone else play her in this movie. Even RDJ said to her jokingly, "Wouldn't you want to be in a movie that everyone would go watch?"
Ouch.
I wonder why the lines between RDJ and Tony Stark are blurred. Although that said, Pepper Potts has her own sass.
After all these years, Tony still has you picking up the dry cleaning. I do anything and everything that Mr. Stark requires, including occasionally taking out the trash.
Oh no.
Howard takes on the role of Stark's childhood friend as the weapons advisor and liaison to Stark Industries. I like to think of Rhodey as Stark's conscience.
I know, right?
To try and
Yeah.
That was sick burn.
Afghanistan, and Rhodey takes acceptance of the fact that Tony doesn't respect himself and opposes the idea of having hot sake on the ride over. Cut to the next scene, and they're chilling on the floor.
Oh, this has not aged well.
Even with a dance pole. Oh, that one
Definitely
has
not.
aged well in this movie, including this line.
I don't want to see this on your MySpace page.
MySpace, dude. No one uses
That's the name of
MySpace.
Bluetooth for the minion age.
Maybe a few. You know him as Flint.
Oh, MySpace! No! 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 MySpace!
Ironmonger. I will give the writing a lot of
Yeah.
credibility and
No.
myself. No one
I
It's
think
so
mine's
weird to see
correct.
Jeff Bridges without hair.
Yeah.
Same acting in Tony's and the company's best interest, and it's only when you see him meeting with the Ten Rings that you saw who ordered the hit on the prodigy of Stark Industries. Bridges plays his part well as the antagonist. My only
I think Justin
critique with the
Hammer was a better
Ironmonger aspect
antagonist.
of
Oh,
the
yeah.
If I'm being
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
I'll give it that. I like Justin Hammer.
The year before, they shoehorned the villain in at the last act with no real time to build Ironmonger up. Thankfully, this is something that was corrected when they had Ivan Vanko go up against Tony Stark in Iron Man 2 years later. Toad plays the man who essentially saved Stark's life by grafting an electromagnet to his chest to stop the remaining shrapnel from entering his heart, courtesy of the explosion left by one of his very own missiles. Yinsen is eager to help Stark as he wants to get out of the cave as much as he does. And the two form this camaraderie where Yinsen is marveled at the very creation of the miniaturized arc reactor that Stark would use to make him more mobile and not depend on the car battery for the magnet in his chest. Yinsen is extremely likable and he just seems like a nice
Yeah.
guy. I found his advice poignant and moving on his deathbed.
Thank you for saving me. Don't waste it. Don't waste your life.
And he didn't. 11 years later, he saved the universe. Literally. This movie began the trend of after-credit scenes in the movies that would effectively tell the audience
Oh,
what
yes.
was either next or coming down the line. In this, we see Sam perfectly decked out in a leather jacket and the iconic eye patch portraying the 21st century take on Nick Fury that had been seen in the Ultimate Avengers comics. And even though Sam has mere seconds to make this scene count, make it count he did. He established his presence, authority, and objective within the MCU with this one simple line.
It was just apropos to cast him as Nick
Yeah.
Fury.
Yeah.
Favreau enlisted the help of ILM for most of the visual effects for the theatrical debut of Iron Man, along with The Orphanage and the episode for additional VFX. Just a friendly reminder, folks, visual effects and special effects are not the same. Visual effects are done in post-production, whereas special effects are done on set at the time, from anything to miniatures to explosions and other stuff that's done whilst on set. They are not to be confused with each other. At this point in 2008, ILM had pretty much nailed photorealism, or were very close to doing so. If 2007's Spider-Man 3 was any indication that CG for superhero movies had gotten way more sophisticated than previous years. When you see the Mark II and III suits taking off, you buy the photorealism. They filmed skydivers in a wind tunnel to study the physics of what it would be like for someone to be like Iron Man, but in a real way. So when you see Stark having the euphoric facial expressions when he's test piloting the Mark II, you can get the sense of what it would be like. They would actually have RDJ in a suit with the helmet, but because he had the lights in front of his eyes, it made it difficult for him to see. In future sequels, they have him in a capture suit and then superimpose the helmet over his face so he could at least see where he was going. The Mark I suit is practical, and some of the stunt actors, even though they were in top physical condition, really
I had a feeling
struggled with
the whole
wearing
suit was
it and ended
practical.
up paying the price for it later with muscle strains. The Mark II and III suits, when the stunt actors were just walking around, would essentially be plastic suits, but then have the VFX crew airbrush the CG on to make it more metallic and shiny. The Mark III suit-up is a visual spectacle itself, as it shows a very practical and believable way that Tony would be sewn into the suit. And the effects? Oh yeah, they still hold up. Composer Ramin Djawadi was a childhood fan of the character, so for him this was birthdays, Christmas, and New Year's all come at once. He treated Tony Stark,
And it was the best score of any Iron Man movie.
not your average traditional superhero, as there was a big presence of heavy metal and guitars throughout the movie.
Even though I kind of
There's even
thought
grander
Iron Man
version
3
of
had a
the
cool,
1966
had a
Iron Man
good
animated
score.
series theme when Stark and company are at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas. This is similar to what would be done with the Spider-Man theme to Homecoming in 2017. I think the music that really works the best is where Tony is test flying the Mark II suit and the score reflects the euphoria Tony is experiencing in being able to fly for the first time.
Kind of like a dream.
Oh, and the kids he flies by at the fairground, the boy's supposed to be Spider-Man. The score was done to perfection. Iron Man grossed a profit of $585.8 million.
Are you sure? Really?
That's what I've heard.
In 2023,
I thought he was the kid from in Iron Man 2 with the helmet.
Yeah.
The movie took in $98.6 million.
It would explain Parker's, fascination with Iron Man.
That's a good point.
At the box office. Todd McCarthy of Variety called the film an expansively entertaining special effects extravaganza with fresh energy and stylistic polish. Kirk Honeycutt of The Hollywood Reporter praised the film while nonetheless finding disappointment in the climactic battle
Yeah.
between Iron Man prototypes. How did Tony's nemesis learn how to use the suit? Roger Ebert of the Chicago
You know, it
Sun
kind of
Times
reminds me of
gave
that
the
really
film
poor
4 out of
CGI
4
battle
stars,
between
praising
Killmonger
Downey
and Black
Jr.'s
Panther.
performance and stating that at the end of the movie,
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr., who powers the liftoff
Good
sequence,
movie,
is
but
the
that
most
was
of the
yeah.
superhero movies.
At least Wakanda
Mark
Forever
Franklin
got
of
it
Dark
right.
Horizons commended the impressive sets and mechanics that combined smoothly with relatively seamless CG, and said, Robert Downey Jr. along with director Jon Favreau helped this rise above
Hell,
form.
speaking of
There was always something
Wakanda
that
Forever, I thought
almost
the
hardly
person who got
groundbreaking
to play as
was
Riri was
nevertheless
pretty good.
refreshing in its earnestness.
Oh yeah, fun fact. She actually auditioned for Shuri like when they were trying to look for an actress to play her.
Oh yeah, I didn't
Iron Man 2
seen
followed
that.
in 2010, and then by Stark teaming up with
And they
Captain
didn't
America,
pick her, but they
Thor,
remembered her.
Black
So
Widow, and Hawkeye for 2012's The Avengers.
just because you don't get the part doesn't mean they won't think of you for later.
2013
Yeah.
that completed the Iron Man trilogy. RDJ would appear as Tony Stark Iron Man in 3 more Avengers sequels.
I still
and
say his Iron Man 3
2017's
suit is his
Spider-Man
best suit by
Homecoming,
far.
Mm.
I like that suit. I will admit that.
2019's Avengers 4 Endgame. The movie has been enjoyed since 2008 on DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. I'm MG Knight, and this was Iron Man.
good.
Very good.
Thank you. What have they had to say? Oh, they've not had anything to say in the chat. That's interesting.
Just one thing that I would suggest.
Mm-hmm.
After we finished, I would suggest taking a look at the episode later, mainly because sometimes on Twitch they may silence parts of the video if it has contained copyright. So just check after we finish. Sometime.
I'm looking currently. No, nothing's showing up.
It might take a while because I think Oni did something similar when he was playing Lego DC Supervillains, and it was only like a day or so after the video went out that certain parts were muted.
All right. We'll just have to wait and see because we see Double Toasted using footage most of the time when they're doing movie roasts in particular, and they're using copyrighted footage, and we don't ever hear a peep out of the copyright police. So
it's the video may be okay, but it's the audio.
But yeah, like I say, there were certain parts in the original voiceovers where my OCD would kick in, and I'm just like, no, this is going to drive me crazy, like Oni crazy, and that's never a good place to be. So
That's what games he's playing.
Well, it was just at a point where I'm like, no, if I'm noticing it, other people will notice it. So, went in Friday and Saturday just to do the redubbing, and I'm like, okay, you're not going to be able to redo everything, because like I say, even though this one's not coming out until April, I still want to get everything else done, because I intend to be done by the middle of May with production for this season. I'm not having a repeat of last summer. So, I just did as Kaiju suggested, in certain places, if you're not able to talk any louder, just boost the volume. And trouble is, and I don't know if you noticed this in Audacity, you can boost the volume, but at the same time, you also get the hissing white noise in the background. And you can use noise removal, but then it warps and distorts the audio. There's a chance, doesn't always happen, but there's a chance it can happen to where it sounds like the recording's partly electronic, if that makes any sense. But no. I went, this is actually the first one to be produced, because there's, 9 to 10 more to do, because like I said, Steve, if I've got time, Into the Spider-Verse will be done, but it's provided I get time for it, because I've got my plate full this season. All right, do something slightly different. Give me the constructive critiques and then overall positive opinions afterwards. So Sir Stephen, start with you. What are your thoughts?
Good review as always.
Thank you.
Yes, it's just I think it was the theme music in the beginning. I'd say that's fine on YouTube, but might need to check the Twitch vid later.
Okay.
Other than that, not much to comment on.
Okay.
Solid work as always.
Thank you. Raiden?
Our review is really well thought out as always. One thing I think you need to work on is your spelling. I've definitely seen a couple of names like butchered, but
Oh,
all in all, still good review either way. Like Iron Man in the sense, yeah, this at the MCU and all that. I'm very happy that it turned out well. I'm happy that they really figured out the villain thing because yeah, I agree. The way they shoehorned Obadiah Stane was like, eh. I mean, what they could have did, you could have saved him as you know, have him as confidant, but in a sense, be a little jealous of Tony's success. And then, like, second movie, it'll boil over the and it gets like that's the way I would do it. But I'm happy that what they did with Whiplash and Justin Hammer, with
yeah.
I said in the video itself, I feel like it was a much better villain than Stain itself, because like in a way he was already established. Yeah, like all in all, good video. Still needs a little bit of work with grammar and spelling, but so far good video.
Okay. Madam President.
Oh, it was a good review all in all. I will say one thing. You've neglected to mention Tom Morello's like involvement with the soundtrack, because again he was very involved in that, to the point where he actually got a cameo in the movie as one of the guys that kidnapped Tony. So
Oh, I did not know that.
yeah, like it's a blink and you'll miss him, but he does have a cameo in there. So
Oh, I did not know that.
yeah, and all in all, yeah, it was a good review. I have to agree. The only person who would know that Obadiah Stane was the villain, or was a villain, is if they read the comics. So it's like, I really wish they had built him up a little bit, where it's like, you want the non-comic audience to be like, oh, I did not see that twist coming, when everybody who's read the comics is like, okay, let's see how this plays out. Oh, it played out like that. Okay, I see what we're doing. It's like, you gotta write the villain properly, otherwise it's gonna be like, oh wow, I didn't see that coming. And I put the emphasis on sarcasm there. But yeah, all in all, good review. I did enjoy it, and you can tell that you put a lot of thought into it, and so that's why I enjoyed that.
Thanks. And it's
Un momento.
sure. Just out of curiosity, Raiden, whose names did I butcher?
Joseph and I think McCarthy, I believe.
Okay. I only, with regards to that, I only, look up, what I saw on Wikipedia, and that's how they spelled it out.
Ah, okay.
I'll double check it later just to be on the safe side. It's like I say, the things in there that, even though it's still a good movie, the things that date it is the flight attendants with the dance pole, whereas today that's like, no, don't do that. And the MySpace line, I'm like, oh, come on, man, really? Because I mean, in 2008 you look and think, okay, whereas now you're like, oh, come on, man. No, people like that now either put that on Instagram or Twitter, or or to some degree Facebook, but MySpace, that's the only real thing that dates the movie. But other than that, it's a movie I always go back to with regards to Iron Man, because there's much more of a seamless pacing to it, whereas I appreciate with Iron Man 2 the pacing's a little bit slower, because Tony's dealing with a lot of negativity with regards to his alcoholism and discovering things about his family's past and what have you. But I don't know. And the third movie is just a steaming hot pile of mess. There are things that I enjoy about it, but compared to the first movie, 3 is just like, ugh. I don't know. But Yeah, and like I say, the audio is still something I'm working on. I mean, where I've got the microphone positioned at the moment on the arm, basically it's just slightly above my eye level. And that's where I'm kind of going to be working with it, because I did a little test thing on Friday and I'm like, ooh, that actually works. Yeah, we're going to keep doing it like that, because where I would have it before, because I have still got the little stand that the microphone came with, I would actually be hunched over speaking into it closely, and as most people know, when you're doing voiceovers, you want to keep your diaphragm as straight and as vertical as possible. So when you're hunched over, it does actually compromise the performance. So that's why I've got the boom arm. Cost me, I wouldn't say a small fortune, but it cost me some money. But I will argue, if you want to get good, you gotta pay good. It's the same thing with footwear. Don't ever cheap out on it. It's not worth it. Oh, on a completely different note, I saw this one savage response, because Attitude Pop likes to upload a lot of old Stone Cold videos from circa 1999 to 2003. I don't know if I should say this out on Twitch, but he said something to the effect of expecting an apology from Stone Cold to Coachman is like R. Kelly dating a grown woman. Oh, like, wow. If Raiden saw that, I'd be like, my guy, I'm not touching that. Nope.
Yeah.
No. Okay. Let's see. Ooh. Let's see. Is this article next? Oh yeah, I probably should actually hit return there. Pokemon teases mysterious new Pokeball for next anime series.
Ooh.
Pokemon has been steadily gearing up for its final adventure with Ash Ketchum, and the next major series will be moving on from him with a tease of a mysterious new kind of Pokeball coming in the new anime. Pokemon, aimed to be a Pokemon Master, is a special series bidding goodbye to Ash after 25 long years in the anime. And it's already been revealed that the new major series in the franchise will be introducing 2 new main protagonists at the center of it all. They'll be starting their journey from the very beginning with some curious items in tow. Although the franchise has yet to reveal a concrete story about what fans can expect to see from the 2 new young trainers at the center of the new anime, Liko and Roy, it has dropped a new hint about what to expect from Roy's role in the new series. He'll be touting a mysterious-looking new Pokeball that will likely feature a mystery that will be at the center of the new adventure the new protagonist venture on. You could check out the newest poster below. And I'm just going to see. The art style is pretty much the same. Yeah, right there, where I'm looking on the right, probably should post this into the Discord just so people can see. The Pokeball almost looks like something you would find in an Egyptian treasure room. Like you would get some of those little circular musical boxes that would open up.
Kind of reminds me of something from the Legends Arceus game.
It kind of does, yeah.
Wait a minute, is that foreshadowing?
Uh-oh. Is that why Ash Ketchum disappears? He goes back to Sui? That'd be funny.
Pokemon's next major anime series does not have a proper title as of this writing, but it will feature Roy, who is confirmed to be from the Kanto region like Ash. Premiering on April 14th, the newest promo teases that this new mysterious Pokeball will be tied to Roy's fate somehow. This is also curious when factoring Rico into the situation, as she was teased to have a special kind of pendant that was also at the center of the major mystery for the new series. As the franchise gears up for this next major phase of the anime, it's becoming increasingly clear that this really will be the end of Ash's long journey. As for what to expect from the next era, Pokemon teases the new series as such. The new series will be a new dream, an adventure set in the entire Pokemon world, where Liko and Roy will go on adventures with many Pokemon, including Sprigatito, Fuecoco, and Quaxley.
AKA Space Duck.
Quack!
What do you think of this new mysterious new Pokeball? What are you hoping to see from the next major Pokemon anime? Let us know of your thoughts about it in the comments below. I think at this point, given that this is all we have to go on with regards to the new series, I think it's just a case of let everything play out. Just let everything play out a minute. I don't know. Because, it didn't matter what new character they brought in. After you replace Ash Ketchum, who's been in there for nearly 3 decades, you've got some big shoes to fill. And Ash has been voiced by many different voice artists since the late 90s and early 2000s, one of which being Veronica Taylor. To some, she will be April O'Neil from the 4Kids Ninja Turtles, and also Princess Amelia Will Tesla Seyroon from Slayers. I'm kind of hoping that they might actually have her come in as like a quick cameo, in one of the last few scenes with Ash involved, because respect the OGs. It'd be like if... Let me see. It'd be like if they decided to do like another... I don't know. Let's just say for argument's sake, they decided to do a Buffy the Vampire Slayer anime series, just like they do this one-off 10-episode OVA series. And towards the end, you hear Sarah Michelle Gellar in a cameo role. And then fans hear that voice and like, wait a minute, I know you. And of course, fun fact, Walter Jones actually had a role as a vampire on Buffy. Not many people know that. I can't really add anything to this article other than just wait and see. Madam President?
It's whatever they're going to be doing with the series. It's like I'm just interested to see what they're going to do and how Ash is going to say goodbye to the series. Heck, maybe they'll let him turn 11 years old. Maybe that. I'm just kidding. But jokes aside, jokes aside, I would like to have seen that, and would like to at least have him have a proper goodbye. Also to find out. I would like just to keep all the mysteries of what they're going to do with it vague as possible. I'm usually not a big opponent on the no spoilers rule because I kind of don't care. But this is like the one time where it's like, I kind of don't want spoilers. So it's like, I think I'll just avoid that. Thank you. I mean, if Twitter isn't on fire.
It will be. It will be.
Yeah. Considering what they're doing now, you know what? Actually, I'm not going to go into that anymore.
Probably best not to.
Yes, I'll bring the marshmallows.
And there's Red.
But all in all, it's pretty cool. I'm okay with whatever there is. I just don't want to know. Just to keep it on, I want to see how they go once they get to the end of Ash's run. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay. And it's like Raiden sees an open fire. Ooh, roasting Tyree. Let me just get the popcorn ready. I want to enjoy this.
Oh, we're making s'mores.
Just so we know, is that Raiden or Shin Raiden we're talking to? How do you know that you don't know? Kitsune, he's scaring me. Good. Kitsune, if you protect me, I'll do anything you want me to do from up. Really now? Oh, no. Shouldn't have opened my mouth. That's right, you shouldn't have. And there's Lids making a list. Right, things for Oni to do for me for a month. Oh, number 8 is going to be very fun. He's hearing this layer. It's like, dude, don't put ideas into her head. Sir Stephen, thoughts on the details for the new season?
I'm with Lids with this one. Just wait and see. But one question I have is, what about Team Rocket?
That's a good point.
What about Team Rocket?
Because I've actually seen a fan dub thing where they say goodbye to Ash as well. Although, what if I could write an ending for Ash's journey? I would just love to see Jesse and James along with me, the Team Rocket trio, just retire from Team Rocket altogether and then join Ash, and they go on their own adventures.
Yeah, that could be interesting.
Because consistently, they've always followed Ash wherever they go. Wherever he's gone in the past, Team Rocket is not that far behind, especially the trio.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm just a guy with a mere thought.
Yeah. But sometimes some people listen to those people with thoughts. Raiden, thoughts?
I think for me, it's about time. I'm happy that before he wins the Grand Championship, he wins another championship. How many times I've seen Ash lose way too much. I'm happy that it's at the point where you don't got like him anymore. You got to tell the story. I'm kind of like with Liz on this one. I don't know. I kind of want to keep the story they see what they're really going to do. And I know there's only like 2 protagonists this time, so I don't know. I mean, it's always a welcome change. It's a protagonist that's not named all the other people that generations. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they're going to do with it.
Alrighty.
Like farewell. So, like I said, that was a wait to see moment. But I'm looking.
Okie dokie. Alright. Next article. James Gunn clarifies DCU, Superman, and Batman age range. James Gunn and Peter Safran recently revealed their new DC Studios slate that included a bunch of new projects. Included in these projects were Superman Legacy, The Brave and the Bold, The Authority, not to be confused with WWE, Creature Commandos, Swamp Thing, and even a Green Lantern series titled Lanterns. Superman Legacy is probably the most interesting of the bunch because not only is Gunn writing the film, both he and Safran hope for him to direct, but it's still up in the air. The idea was to have a younger actor than Henry Cavill in the role, and fans assumed that they meant an actor in his 20s, which led to a bunch of ridiculous fan castings, one of them being Harry Styles. No, and no. Fans have also thought that would mean that Batman would be a few years older than that. Gunn was responding to fans on Twitter, in which he clarified how old his Superman and Batman will be. Yeah, but people are speculating about both ages. All I ever said was Superman was younger than in his 40s and Batman might be a couple of years older than Superman. Gunn and Safran began their jobs as co-CEOs of DC Studios last year, and it's safe to say that the future of DC is looking bright when the duo was announced by the new Warner Bros. Discovery boss. They released a statement on their excitement for the job. We're honored to be the stewards of these DC characters we've loved since we were children. We look forward to collaborating with the most talented writers, directors, and actors in the world to create an integrated, multi-layer universe that allows for the individual expression of the artists involved. Our commitment to Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Harley Quinn, and the rest of the DC stable of characters is only equaled by our commitment to the wonder of human possibility that these characters represent. We're excited to invigorate the theatrical experience around the world as some of the biggest, most beautiful, and grandest stories ever told. Provided there's not too many studio execs in the kitchen. The next DC Studios movie to hit theaters will be Shazam! Fury of the Gods. Gunn, please include this version of Shazam. I'm sorry, we can't live in a world where Zachary Levi is not Shazam. That first movie was amazing.
About that, the movie was great, but there were some recent developments regarding Mr. Levi. I'm not going to say them out loud because they're not safe.
Oh no.
Really?
It's bad. It's not Ezra Miller levels, but it is pretty bad. I'll type it in the chat. Don't read it aloud.
Okay.
Oh.
New Line Cinema described the film as follows. Bestowed with the powers of the gods, Billy Bats and his fellow foster kids will still learn how to struggle teenage life with having an adult superhero alter egos. But when the daughters of Atlas, a vengeful trio of ancient gods, arrive on Earth in search of the magic stolen from them long ago, Billy, also known as Shazam, and his family are thrust into a battle for their superpowers, their lives, and the fate of the world. Ooh. Okay.
Oh boy.
To be fair with Gunn, he's not really giving away a lot. All he said is that Superman is going to be younger than his 40s, so for all we know, we could be getting an actor that was the same age as Henry Cavill when he first played Supes. Because, again, Gunn has not really specified how old Supes and Bats are going to be. I mean, probably more than likely it's going to be, Bats is going to be younger than when Ben Affleck first put on the cape and cowl. And to be fair, I think with Bats, I think he's probably in his prime most of the time between, I want to say, 33 to 37. Because even with Michael Keaton's portrayal, Bruce Wayne had to be mid to late 30s. With the age range he had back in '89. So I wouldn't like to say, but we don't need to necessarily see younger Superman in his early to mid 20s, because there's the live action Superboy series from the end of the 80s, which really struggling on one name. It was a wrestler that was supposed to replace Hogan in WWE after he left. His name I'm really struggling with. It's right on the tip of my tongue, because I actually know that he actually had a cameo as someone who was supposed to be, said that he himself was the new Superboy in the series. And to be fair, he had the look for it, but trouble is, at the time he came in, it's just like, dude, you are way too old to be calling yourself a boy. Just saying. God, this is going to bother me now. It's going to be one of those things where... It's the one where he showed up on the very first episode of Nitro, where his contract was up the night before with WWE, and then he showed up on Nitro, not knowing, that his contract was up that time. Oh. And because Sting was chomping at the bit to get him over with Bischoff, because, Sting's that type of guy. He wants to help everyone out, because that's just the type of guy he is.
Oh.
Damn it, what is this guy's name? Wrestler first episode of Nitro, didn't know his contract was would help if I could spell. No, that's not it. Lex Luger.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be. He had one scene in an episode of the Superboy live action series where he's going up against the person who is playing Superboy. He's like, "Oh, I'm the new Superboy now," and I'm like, "Dude, you're like in your late 20s, early 30s. You're a little bit old to be calling yourself that at this point." Not trying to make it an ages thing. I'm just calling it like it is. So yeah. And of course we get one more run with Michael Keaton as Batman. It's just unfortunately he's in a situation through no fault of his own, because to him it's a job, it's a paycheck. And of course, folks, I'm referring to the controversy that's surrounding the leading Air Brackets protagonist of the movie.
Or should we say person playing said protagonist?
Yes. And this is like a personal thing between Steve and myself. We're conflicted because on the one hand, we don't know whether we will go see this movie or not, and yet at the same time, it's Keaton back in one of his more iconic roles for the first time in 3 decades. So it's one of those, this is awkward.
Yeah.
One of collar tugging moments, you might say.
Yeah.
What if I played the Flash instead?
You?
I wouldn't be against that.
I'd be the fastest thing alive to go get chicken wings and tacos.
God, it's like watching that trailer back with Oni. It's like, am I supposed to get excited here? Because again, it's Michael Keaton. Supergirl looks cool, but there's a giant elephant-sized rap sheet of Ezra Miller's in the room, just like right there, just it's there, and you can't ignore it because it's there. I really hope that like when he undoes Flashpoint or whatever, that his face changes, that we never have to deal with Ezra Miller ever again. Please.
Yes,
Can't we?
please.
I mean, from what I understand, Warner Brothers are basically releasing this because from a financial perspective, like, we've invested too much money into this to go to waste, but at the same time...
Yeah, you say that, but what about Batgirl?
Yeah, that was written as a tax write-off, wasn't it, fellas?
Not to mention that apparently there was another Scooby-Doo movie supposed to feature the Hex Girls, but that was written off as a tax write as well.
I get when new owners come in, they have to assess what works and what have you, but people wanted, a return of Michael Keaton as Bats, and from what we understood with this version of Batgirl, it would have been very intriguing and entertaining, and plus it would have actually seen more of J.K. Simmons, Commissioner Gordon. So, which would then raise questions like, wait a minute, I thought J.K. Simmons' version of Gordon was from the Affleck timeline.
Yeah, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey, dimension wenchiny stuff.
Yeah. So, like I say, I'm conflicted with regards to the Flash, because on the one hand, Ezra Miller should not be supported in any shape or form.
They need to be behind bars. That's what that needs to happen.
And at the same time, this might, in air quotes, this might be the last time we ever see Michael Keaton step back into the cape and cowl. That's what's made it very conflicting. And, as Steve and I were saying, the other night on Jurassic Wednesdays, you have to feel so bad for Keaton because he didn't sign up for this.
And they've already shot him once in the foot with the whole Batgirl cancellation. Warner Brothers, what is going on in your heads?
I mean...
Well, again, these are the same people that let Velma exist.
Apparently that's getting a second season as well.
Thanks, people hate watching that show. Thank you.
You can imagine, like, Raiden sitting there, I was like, yo, don't make me come out and backhand y'all.
I would say I ended up stumbling upon a scene from that show, and it is absolutely disgusting of what happened.
I will ask no further questions.
It's terrible. It really is. Because Oni was watching this person react to the show themselves, because he was not giving that show the time of day. He was having someone else watch that, not to, in a sense, for him. So, yeah, certain scenes kind of like pissed him off. The stuff they did with Fred.
Oh, God.
I won't even ask.
You don't want to know.
You're better off not knowing.
Okay. Yeah, including what they supposedly did with Scooby as well.
That I thought that was partially a rumor of what they did.
Yeah, no, turns out Scooby's something completely different, and it has something to do with why the villain or the killer is killing people and taking out their brains. It's really freaking stupid. It's stupid.
Ugh.
Damn. I only saw...
I think we've gone way off topic again.
Yeah.
We have. Yeah. Gunn's not really being specific. That's basically it. So, Steven?
More of a wait and see situation. I'm sure whatever Gunn has got planned will be interesting. But at the same time, we've got to remember that there are several actors who end up losing out in this deal. I do feel sorry for them. I just hope that they're able to find something within this plan that James Gunn has got.
Yeah. Because, like I say, I feel bad. Excuse me. I feel bad for Cavill because just when he thought he had his foot back in the door, the carpet's yanked out from underneath him once more, and it's just like, this guy cannot catch a break as Superman.
No, Batman.
Yeah, and Keats as Batman. Yeah. Raiden? Oh.
You there?
Raiden? Raiden? We're having technical difficulties at the moment, folks.
Might be the internet signal again.
It might be.
Man, come look up.
Right.
Ah, there you are.
Just asking your thoughts on the article with Gunn not being specific to the age ranges of Superman and Bats.
I think it's a good thing, honestly. I know a lot of people, even your brother, have grievances with Mr. Gunn. But honestly, for me, I truly believe he has good intention with DC in mind. I'm really happy that they're not really divulging like a lot of people has done over the years with their really messed up cinematic universe. Like Liz said with Pokemon, it's better to just like let them be in the hush hush, just work on it instead of just like divulging because like if you divulge too much, the product is not gonna look good. So I think with this, I am happy that Gunn is really focusing on creating this universe. Like I'm all for it. I'm all for the new project. It's like I can't wait. And MJ, like you and Steve, I am very like torn, especially just seeing Michael Keaton as Batman. And just like it's great, but just to see Ezra Miller's Flash, like especially the shit he's done before this whole thing started, is like, you think he go somewhere that crazy.
Yeah.
Whatever. As long as I have to see your ass as the Flash ever again, whatever. That is what it is. But original point in mind, I'm happy, like I said, happy to see that I'm not saying anything about the age ranges. And pick the actors, actresses on what's going to be the future for the DCEU, because Lord knows that it needed fixing badly, very badly. So I am see what James can do. The age range we have Superman, and it kind of should be the same ish, but honestly, I'll just let James tap on the side.
Okay. Avatar: The Way of Water beats Titanic to become the third highest grossing movie of all time. The Cameron box office wars are raging on as Avatar: The Way of Water continues making money while Titanic has success with its 25th anniversary re-release. Early this month, Avatar: The Way of Water topped the Oscar-winning classic at the international box office, and now it's managed to steal the third place spot worldwide. According to Variety, the Avatar sequel has now made $2.2 billion globally, which beats Titanic's $2.28 billion. Of course, this means Cameron has helmed the top grossing film of all time, Avatar, as well as the third highest, Avatar 2, and the fourth being Titanic. The only thing standing in the director's way from total box office domination is Avengers Endgame, which is currently the second highest grossing movie of all time with $2.7 billion. It was unclear if Avatar: The Way of Water would manage to top Titanic thanks to the latter's recent re-release, which added $31.3 million to the movie's total. Currently, it doesn't seem like the beloved film will earn back its spot, but it has been a tight race. Did Avatar: Way of Water get nominated for any Oscars? Cameron's latest film was recently nominated for 4 Academy Awards. The Way of Water is up for Best Picture, Best Visual Effects, Best Sound, and Best Production Design. The first film earned 9 nominations back in 2010 and took home the prizes for Best Cinematography, Visual Effects, and Art Direction. However, neither movie can match up to Titanic, which earned 14 nominations and 11 wins, including Best Picture and Director. And I kind of like in the highlights where Sean Connery's reading out the windows like, "Oh, what a surprise! Titanic!" For For Best Picture this year, The Way of Water is going up against Top Gun Maverick. Please take this one, Top Gun. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, All Quiet on the Western Front, The Banshees of...
Inisherin?
Thank you. Elvis. I've yet to see that, but I've heard very good things about that movie. The Fabelmans, Tar, Triangle of Sadness, and Women Talking. For visual effects, the new Avatar is going up against All Quiet on the Western Front, The Batman, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Top Gun Maverick. How did Kate Winslet get cast in Avatar: The Way of Water? The Avatar sequel marks Kate Winslet's first time working with Cameron since Titanic. Brandon Davis had a chance to chat with Kate Winslet about reuniting with Cameron after all these years. He just asked me, and I think I admired the first Avatar. Loved it so much in the same way that we all did. And you know Jim, he's an incredible writer of strong female roles, and he was one of the first to be really doing that. And when he described Ronald to me, and said that she was the female sort of goddess, warrior leader of the water tribe, I just thought, I mean, to me, that's proper sort of music to my ears. So the idea of playing someone like that who is a leader in that way, the water element was very important to me. I love water, it's a big part of my life, always has been, and to work with Jim and the other cast, I was just very excited. Also, just a heads up, Hollywood, James Cameron knows how to write strong leading female roles properly. Sarah Connor. That is all. Oh, that's pretty much the end of the article. It doesn't surprise me that Avatar 2 would rake up very highly in one of the all-time box office grossing movies. The fact that it's gotten to number 3... That's, yeah. Not sure what to make of that. I mean, as it said, it's only got to try and sink Avengers Endgame. Now, ideally, if, let's just say for the argument's sake, that for 2 months we have Cameron... movie extravaganza where all his movies are re-released, and you have Avatar 2, Titanic, and the first 2 Terminators played. It'd be safe to say that Titanic and the 2 Avatars would get the top 3 spots, and then Avengers Endgame would fall down to 4th place. But what we've also got to keep in mind, Jurassic Park held the top spot as highest grossing movie of all time until Titanic in 1997. And oddly enough, in the list that's compiled on Wikipedia, even after 30 years, Jurassic Park is still in that list because it did gross over $1 billion. It's just that Jurassic World fared better than Fallen Kingdom, but if you saw Fallen Kingdom, you'll know why. And even Dominion managed to gross over $1 billion. Granted, it took a while longer, but I think after Fallen Kingdom, people were just a little bit burned by what they saw. Dominion fixed some of the problems, but it's just like, eh. So Stephen, thoughts on the fact that Avatar 2's claimed the number 3 spot?
It doesn't really surprise me, considering the how much went into the visuals of that movie. It is just stunning to look at, and working in cinema myself at the moment, for the most part, it's been a steady number of people who are coming to watch it, and we've still got it showing in our cinema, and we're only limited to 5 screens, but it's still got an audience 2 months later.
But that is the rule of thumb. The more money it makes, the longer it stays in theaters. I mean, Maverick, that was in theaters for at least a good 5 months.
Yep, pretty much over the summer of last year.
it annoyed me a little bit when it was like the last 2 weeks of December and Way of Water just had to go and take highest grossing movie of the year. It's just like, you couldn't let Top Gun 2 just have this, could you? Like, you couldn't just let them have this.
Like we say, Hollywood has got a Hollywood.
And it's also like, it's
James
also,
Cameron's a petty bitch. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud?
I was about to get on to that. This is one of the reasons why he re-released the first Avatar, because he couldn't accept the fact that Marvel had a movie that outgrossed one of his prized gems. And just for context, folks, I am just quoting Madam President here. It's like, James Cameron has a hate boner for Marvel, and he really needs to stop it with that. Cut.
Because technically they're both under the same roof now.
Exactly. And this is one of the very few times where people actually agree with Disney and say, you two, behave. And like I say, that'll be one of the very few times where we're like, okay, we actually agree with Disney. Wait, did that come out of my mouth?
Otherwise, Mickey Mouse will have a serious talking to both of you.
Oh, if you do that, we're going to make you sit down with Honey Rokako and watch TNA Victory Road 2011 again. No, get to it. No, don't make me watch that again.
No.
I would rather watch Batman and Robin with Raiden. Bruh.
Oh, God, why? No.
Bruh, don't make me go through that again. Okay. For the sake of my sanity and everyone else's, I will watch Superman 4. Everyone's like, no. And there's a reason why Raiden said, we don't talk about that movie. Madam President, thoughts? Oh, we've lost Lydia.
Oh, no, I'm still here. Sorry. I have to admit, it's like that James Cameron beat one of his own movies at the box office and grossing amount of money. Seems like a classic thing. I'm not going to say out loud because not safe for Twitch. But there's no love lost between me and James Cameron. I'm sorry. It's just, Titanic was a good movie, but it's associated with a man who likes to stroke his own ego, if you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just I can't get excited for something like this, especially with someone like as arrogant and pig-headed as James Cameron is. So it's like, I don't know.
All right.
Maybe it'll take you like less than 20 years to put out the sequel to a movie you made years ago. I'm sorry. Am I bitter? No. Okay. All right.
Anything that's bad, he's thinking about rebooting Terminator.
Again?
He could go fuck off. No.
I mean, I think with Terminator now, it's one of those things. Seriously, just let it either sit for a good while until someone comes along with the right vision that honors the spirit of the original but takes it in a modern, fresh approach. Because it's like we've said so many times before, Rise of the Machines, guilty pleasure. Terminator 4, we don't talk about that movie. Mind you, we said that for a while, and then Dark Fate comes along. And that movie, no, that movie's just a dumpster fire. Whereas Genesis, there are bits of it I like. But it's like we say, that there's a reason why there's not been a major hit for Terminator since Judgment Day. And that's the thing, Hollywood, stop trying to outdo Judgment Day. You can't. That'd be like trying to outdo the first Superman movie or Spider-Man 2. It's like, just stop. You know, that'd be like I don't know, let's say for the sake of discussion, that'd be like Kevin Hart and Chris Rock coming along to outdo Friday. That'd be an interesting experiment. But Friday works when it's Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. But Chris Tucker has been very adamant he doesn't want to do another movie. You know, and that's fine. But, I don't know. Raiden, your thoughts on the fact that Avatar 2's become number 3 in biggest grossing movie of all time? Raiden. We're having technical issues again, folks. Sorry about this. Because even Raiden has said on occasion his Wi-Fi is a little bit wonky, as Madam President found out with hers this evening.
Just hope it's not Gremlins again.
Ah, there he is. Raiden, your thoughts on the fact that Avatar 2's number 3 of the highest grossing movies of all time?
I'm at the point of going mug on this one, man.
Fine.
But I'll be a little short to you this one. I did see the original Avatar. I thought it was cool, but then over the years, it's like I thought I gotta hear this. Oh, you're gonna do more sequels. You're gonna do more sequels, and now we get one for 2024, 2023.
Yeah.
And first Avatar came in 2009. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. I don't know, man. It's just. I definitely agree with a little bit of sentiment of what Lit said. I feel like he's too much of an egomaniac to just be his own blessing. I mean, because of him, he fucked up his franchise, Terminator. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, whatever. Have fun. Fuck it up at everything again, so, and just you, I guess.
Well, it's like I say, I'm not likely to go see Avatar 2 because I think, like a lot of people, I've just lost interest in it. You know, mainly from the sentiment of that you waited this long to do the sequel and the multiple sequels that are coming out, because apparently they've already filmed the sequences for 3 and 4 as well, but they're just taking their time just to do the CG and all the other post-production work, and I'm like, if it had been 2013 or 2014 these sequels came out, I'd say fine. But it's like it's 14 years later, and I don't know. I mean, I made the exception with Tron Legacy. Now, for context, I never saw the original Tron in theaters because I was way too young at the time. But I enjoyed Legacy for what it is, and Tron Ares is actually going into production. Finally. Disney are actually producing the 3rd movie. The only problem is people are concerned with the fact that Jared Leto is one of the leads. So, I don't know what we're likely to get from the 3rd movie. As long as you get Garrett Redland back as Sam Flynn, and you get Olivia Wilde come back as Cora. Because there was something quite sweet and charming about Cora in the 2nd movie. I don't know, there was like naive innocence about her. And of course, as we know, we're probably not likely to get Jeff Bridges because, well, you know, he kind of disintegrated at the end of the 2nd movie, so yeah. But that's like another movie. It's just like, you know, why'd you take so long just to get here? Because it was a near 30-year gap between Tron and Legacy, and now there's, you know, essentially going to be a 14 to 15-year gap between Legacy and Ares. It's like, I mean, with Top Gun Maverick, even Tom Cruise had been adamant in saying that he didn't want to do a sequel until they had the right story and that technology would have caught up. And to be fair for Maverick, it was worth the wait. When whether we'll actually ever get another Top Gun movie with him in, I'm cautiously optimistic. I want to see another Top Gun movie with Tom Cruise in, but Tom, my guy, don't take another 36 years just to make this one. Seriously. Because the guy only just turned 60 last year, and for another 36 years, he'd be in his mid-90s by the time that one would come. I was like, no, dude. No more than maybe like 3 to 5 years. Don't take as long this time. I think we'll probably call it time here because we're close to the, the cutoff point anyhow, and we're trying to keep to our exits these days.
Mm-hmm.
So we are gonna go raid the little lemon bun in a moment because she's a sweetheart. Just a friendly reminder, back for Sonic Tuesdays and Jurassic Wednesdays this week. Start time 10:30 p.m. UK, 5:30 Eastern, and 2:30 Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget to also check out Madam President's Twitch page at twitch.tv/Kitsune Rakaku, and Herbo, twitch.tv/Onirakaku. Plenty of subs and subscriptions would be appreciated because, well, Oni wants to live the easier life, and so does Madam President, and
That'd be nice.
nothing wrong can be said for that.
Mm-hmm. I will be getting back into Pokemon because it's my turn at the helm, and I may or may not have cheated. People will find out if they watch. So.
Yeah. So, until next Sunday, which will be our 200th episode of Sunday Night Live, start time of 6 p.m. UK, 1 p.m. Eastern, and 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I have been the Knight, saying good night from the night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.
Okay. Just get ready for more viewers to go raid the little lemon bun. And we're gonna go raid now. Have a good night, folks.